morning, everybody. I'm your regular host on governance and religion. I'm Professor David Bangboche. You are welcome. Now, in the two previous episodes of governance and religion, I started to discuss how can religious people that fear God, must and participate in politics and institutional of governance. I emphasize the fact that we cannot. It is not an option. Because every generation must work for another. And if you want to live a better life, society, community for your children, you cannot afford to be complacent. I did mention the fact that religious people can stand up for election to be elected. That there is nothing absolutely wrong. Even though our people are trying to create a ruling class, that we must stand up to engage that procedure, engage that system, and take priority. And that in due course, in focusing on it, we will begin to have good people in a place. We also say that good people, religious people must join political parties, especially the predominant parties. Because most of the polity in the world now have two major parties. I mentioned that in America we have the Republican and the Democrat, the Democratic Party. In London we have the Labour and the Conservative. In Nigeria today, we are having a two-horse race between the APC and the PDP. So these are the two predominant parties in Nigeria. And there is nothing stopping you from joining from the world level, local government level, state level, national level. Becoming part of the ESCOs. So that when decisions are made to recommend people who will be presented to the electorate, you will be one of those who will be making the decision. And we hope that with your fear of the Lord, you'll be part of making right choices primarily for people to choose from. Now, today I'm supposed to talk about the third level of or dimension of participation. But the question came in. Somebody alluded to the fact that in developing nations, especially in Nigeria, votes are not counting. He did mention the fact that most of the elections are premeditated, whereby some power that be have decided on who they want to give the election to. And they now use all the instruments of state, the electoral body, the security system, to achieve a predetermined action. And I'm going to answer that question and tell this individual, that it's a no and a no. Votes of people count. Votes of people count. I repeat it, votes of people count. If votes are not counting, politicians will not campaign. They don't need to campaign. They don't need to make any effort. They don't need to sleep in their house because the result is already determined. If votes are not counting, how can an incumbent president was removed in Nigeria in 2015? And it did not only happen in Nigeria, it happened across African nations. In Gambia, the incumbent president was removed, and so many places. So, I like to inform my listeners, people who are with me, to let you know that it is one of the way, the lie that the politicians, the people, the ruling class are using to put us under, are using to prevent us from participation by saying votes are not counting. I am bold to tell you. Look at several elections. Atta Mills, the former president of the late former president of Ghana, the election went into runoff twice. And at the end of the day, the will of the people prevailed. In Liberia recently, George Orwell is not the choice of the establishment, the ruling class, but the people voted. The election went into runoff, and over 70 people voted for him. And nobody had any choice but to declare him as the president of that nation. I know where the individual that asked this question is coming from. That our electoral system in Nigeria and some developed nations are not perfect. In fact, we cannot talk about perfection, are not good enough. There is no checks and balances whereby it is opening the system to rigging, to violence, to manipulations. This is also an assignment for good people to engage the government, to engage our parliament, to bring up an advocacy on how we can have credible elections in our polity. We in Nigeria now, we are ripe for electronic voting, whereby people, the subject and result of election will not be open to that collation system whereby people, will take, a series of actions, cumbersome, manual, open to manipulation and violence before we can get to our result. The last election that was conducted, there was a portal that was releasing the election result real time in Nigeria. And INEC is saying they're going to test that system again in Edo State and Ondo State. I am telling you, with continuous participation of people and the proper rules of engagement, our system will be better. It is time for us to stand up, and I see God helping us. Good morning.